So this is how I get COVID. Oh my god. It actually worked. I've successfully time traveled. Okay, listen. I don't have much time. Well, it sounds like you're a time traveler, so you have, like, all the time. Yeah, alright, smartass, you made your point. Regardless of anything, I've got important information for you from the future, so let me just give you that. Okay, first of all, when you get your hair cut, make sure the barber doesn't cut your beard too short. Okay, well, never mind on that one. Okay, second piece of information. Here in my hand, I have the results of the 2020 NBA draft. Like, all the trades, all the selections, the whole shebang. I'm going to give this information to you, and you're going to make a video on it. Okay, let me get this straight. So we somehow get the power of time travel. And instead of going back to a more crucial point in our lives to, I don't know, to tell us not to waste 2 years of our life majoring in pre-law, you instead come back to tell me to make a certain YouTube video. It's really not that deep. Okay, whatever, damage is done, just let me see this. Oh yeah, my bad, here you go. Ah, wow. So, quick question. Why am I making a video on this? Come on, bro, isn't it obvious? I'm literally giving you information from the future. People are gonna watch this video and they're gonna be like, this man got everything right. That must mean he's a great basketball analyst. And then bam, we get subs. Okay, that's a pretty good plan. Just a quick question. What am I supposed to do if this is wrong? Bro, what do you mean, what if it's wrong? I'm from the future, did you not see? Well, I mean, yeah, I get that, but like, how does time travel even work? I mean, did you ever make this video? Well, obviously not. Why do you think I'm here? Okay, so if you never made this video, then that means by me making this video, I would be changing a historical event. So what if, by changing a historical event, by using future information from the NBA draft to create this video, it directly impacts what happens in the draft? Huh. Interesting. So you're thinking this might be like a butterfly effect? Hang on, is that my Butterfree card? Wait, you knew that was gonna happen. You knew I was gonna say that. You absolute dickhead, you planned that bit. Yeah, I totally did. No, you idiot, that means you knew it was gonna happen. Now if I make this video saying that this is 100% gonna happen on draft night, and then spoilers, it doesn't happen anymore, what the hell am I supposed to say to our impressionable audience? Okay, buddy, I'm gonna need you to relax real quick. You got like 400 subscribers. Ain't nobody looking at you for credibility. Second of all, if the draft actually does change, just explain everything what happened with the whole butterfly effect. Huh, I didn't think of that. It's really that easy? I mean, yeah, it should be. You know, that can be construed as like a really complex and roundabout way to avoid taking accountability for my actions. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? When in doubt, blame the time traveler. And I mean, think of it this way. I'm standing here right now. So that means that I will have to come back and give you that information to begin with. I'm still here, and that piece of paper is still here. Which means nothing's changed yet. So as long as I don't disappear from reality, this is all still accurate information. Okay, well, you have me sold. Let's make this video. Alright, there we go. That's the spirit. Alright, I'm gonna get the camera and then we'll roll the intro. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Now you may be wondering, Truth, you said you're going to try uploading consistently and you yet again disappeared for a month. Honestly, I don't really have that great of an excuse for y'all. Life just got in the way. I'm going to try to be better. I really do want to commit to this whole thing. So if you do want to see more content from me, the best way to show that is by interacting with my videos, by commenting, by liking, by sharing, by subscribing, all that stuff. Now, another thing is you might notice that the lighting is kind of really bad right now. My ceiling light thing, it just decided to stop working, so I'm using using a lamp, man. Okay, so the topic of today's video the 2020 NBA draft. Now, this isn't your standard NBA mock draft video where I just list what I think is going to happen. No, a time traveler came through a few minutes ago and gave me information of what exactly is going to happen. So this information, this is gospel right here. What I got right here on my laptop, this is gospel. We can't refute it. This is what is going to happen. If it doesn't happen, then, we can just blame the whole, butterfly effect thing. So, this draft is going to consist of all trades that will happen, and it's going to be represented by TradeNBA.com. Now, real quick, I want to give a shout out to the guy that runs TradeNBA.com. I don't actually know his name, but the guy has really overhauled his site and made it as user-friendly as possible. I mean, this guy, he's really easy to get in contact with. When he first opened his site, maybe like a year and a half ago, I would go onto the website on my phone, and I would do all these mock trades and stuff like that. And I realized at some point, it's like, oh, hey, you know what? There's not enough space for me to get a screenshot of this. So I DM'd him on Twitter. I DM'd him on Twitter, and I told him about this issue. And he's like, okay. Next day, he hits me up saying, hey, man, I added this feature where you just click the button and it does a perfect screenshot. I'm just like, so I came to you with some inquiry, and you literally added something the next day. So this shows you this guy has done more than 2K has done in 20 years with Trade Interface and ESPN Trade Machine. Don't ever use that. I mean, this thing has got draft picks, you trade exceptions, you can sign players, you can use over the years, that whole thing. So that's your whole free promo. So none other ado, let's just get into this thing. So with the first overall pick, wait a second, we have a trade to announce. Yeah, that was quick. Okay, so I got to give you some context behind this. So during January, I went to a University of Georgia basketball game with one of my friends. And during this, I wanted to go watch Anthony Edwards. And while I was sitting, I noticed on the sidelines, there were two particularly interesting individuals. Those two happened to be Trey Young and Travis Schlang. Travis Schlang being the GM of the Hawks. Trey Young, you all know who Trey Young is. It was very clear that they wanted to go see Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards, he is obviously, at this point, he's a 5-star prospect. He's going to go top 3 in the draft, well, as you can clearly see. And he is Georgia-born, and instead of committing to a high-profile school, he decided to go to UGA. The last NBA player that I know of that went to UGA is KCP. So it's clear that he is a Georgia native that wants to be in Georgia, and the Hawks really, really, really want Anthony Edwards. I understand the reports that come out saying that the Hawks want to move their pick and get a win-now player, but that is a clear misdirect. The Hawks want Anthony Edwards. So that brings up the whole context of this. Now, right here, we have a 3-team deal. So the Timberwolves, as you all know, have been trying to trade away the number one pick in order to get a win-now player and some other assets or anything along those lines, because they're trying to compete for a playoff spot. They haven't gone to the playoffs since Jimmy Butler, that whole saga. So they're trying to get some help around D'Lo and Cat. So the idea is the Timberwolves trade away an expiring contract to James Johnson, their first overall pick, and the 16th pick. They're trading their first overall pick to Atlanta and James Johnson to Atlanta to match the salaries. In exchange, they get Victor Oladipo and the 6th pick. The Hawks receive James Johnson in the first pick. The Pacers receive, because we all know the reports of how Victor Oladipo, it's kind of back and forth of whether or not he wants out of Indiana. Earlier, it was reported that he is just done and he's not going to re-sign there after this season. So the Pacers are receiving DeAndre Hunter, the 16th pick from Minnesota via Brooklyn, and an OKC 2022 first from Atlanta. Now, the Timberwolves side of this thing, Victor Oladipo is a high-risk player in this scenario because obviously he's on an expiring deal, and the quad injuries just it's iffy, right? But giving up the first overall pick and the 16th overall pick, they still get the 6th pick back. So they still get to select within the top 10. So that basically makes up for that whole thing. The Hawks receive the first overall pick, and James Johnson was expiring. And the Pacers receive DeAndre Hunter, which is a nice young player. They get the 16th pick, and they don't have their pick, by the way. That belongs to Milwaukee. And they get a future first, which is heavily protected. That's probably going to turn into 2 seconds. Now, with the first overall pick, the Hawks are selecting Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards gets to stay here. This is the player that the Hawks have wanted for a while now. Trey Young's going to be able to play off ball. It's absolutely a perfect fit, and this is completely worth it. That was a pretty long-winded explanation, but it should be pretty smooth from right here. Now, with the second pick, the Golden State Warriors select... Wait a second. We've got another trade. Okay, so here we've got a 3-team deal. The Warriors have wanted to trade out of the second pick, while the Pistons have wanted to trade up. So the Warriors get 2 win-now players in Derrick Rose and Kevin Love. And also they get a nice young player in Sekou Doumbouya. They're trading away their second pick to the Pistons and Andrew Wiggins to the Cavs. Now this part I find funny because it's going full circle here. So like back in 2014 when LeBron returned to Cleveland, the Cavs had the first overall pick, of which they used to select Andrew Wiggins. At this point, he was touted to be the next Kobe Bryant. I mean, he was actually basically the next Jordan. He was called Maple Jordan. That was his nickname. So they traded Andrew Wiggins, this high value prospect back in 2014, for Kevin Love. Now it goes back full circle because now they're trading Andrew Wiggins in exchange for Kevin Love. So Andrew Wiggins, finally you get to see him officially in a Cavs jersey. So the Warriors get 2 win-now players out of it. I think it's pretty good value, and they get Sekou Doumbouya. The Pistons get to trade up, which they've wanted LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball's camp has said that they've wanted to be either on the Pistons or the Knicks. This is the team that's going to trade up for him, the Pistons. And they get a 2022 Milwaukee first from Cleveland. I believe that is protected to turn into 2 seconds. I may be misunderstanding that. And the Cavs get, obviously, Andrew Wiggins and the 7th pick from Detroit. So, with the second overall pick, the Pistons select LaMelo Ball. Now, this is a win-win situation for basically all sides here. I don't really see any issue with this. So, good on everyone here. With the third pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select James Wiseman. So this one shouldn't be too much of a surprise. There has been some debate whether or not James Wiseman or Onyeka Okongwu would be the better big man. The consensus is that between the people that have actually, analyzed these people, is that Okongwu can be essentially the next version of Bam, and that would make him better. But James Wiseman is just such a freak athlete, and I don't see Charlotte passing him up, and this seems pretty in line as to what Michael Jordan would do. So James Wiseman's their pick. Now, with the 4th pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, the Chicago Bulls select Denny Abdia, or Abdia. I've heard Funky call him Abdia. I'm gonna trust that's how you pronounce the name. So Abdia, from the stuff that I've seen, he seems like a pretty good player, and his main upside and the main reason why the Bulls would draft him is his playmaking. They're already heavy on the guard position, so Kylian, Haze, people like that. That's kind of off the table unless if you want to get rid of someone like Kobe White. So Denny Abdia definitely fits their wing position, and his playmaking is definitely there. Shooting's pretty solid from what I've seen, so there you go. With the 5th pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Onyeka Okongwu. Now, back to Okongwu. So, one thing that I noticed from the Cavs last year made some pretty smart moves when it comes to the draft. So, it seems like the Cavs are acting in a competent way. They got Andre Drummond. I understand the consensus around Andre Drummond, but they got him for dirt cheap, and they can potentially flip him this year for something. And the fact that they're already trading away Kevin Love, which it already happened earlier in this draft, that opens up a spot for Okongwu to develop. And like the consensus is, he can be essentially the next Bam in this next generation of centers. So Okongwu is definitely a great pick here. With the 6th pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Obi Toppin. So this 6th pick is the pick that they get from Atlanta.
when they trade them their first pick. They get this 6th pick from Atlanta, and they use it to draft Obi Toppin. Now, I understand that Obi Toppin is not that great of a defender, and he's mainly just an offensive presence. I've seen comparisons from him to being like Amari Stoudemire, which seems pretty apt from what I've seen. But I don't think the Timberwolves are too concerned with defense since they're running D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns, not two great notable defenders. So they might just want that offensive superpower. So having like a four-man rotation of like D'Lo, Oladipo, Toppin at the 4, and Cat at the 5, that could be pretty lethal when it comes to offensive threats. So that seems like a pretty solid move. With the 7th pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select, we have yet another trade. Now, this one is going to be the last trade that happens within the lottery. Oh, by the way, we're only doing the lottery picks. We're not going through the whole 30 picks. I think I forgot to say that. So, here we have a 4-team trade. So, the Cleveland is going to send the 7th pick that they got from that whole Golden State 3-team trade from Detroit. They got the 7th pick from Detroit, okay? They're now taking this 7th pick that they just got, and they're sending it to Boston in exchange for Boston's 4 picks that they have in this draft. The 14th pick, the 26th pick, the 30th pick, and the 47th pick. Now, the thought process behind this is, while this isn't necessarily a star-loaded draft, this is a pretty deep draft of which, even when you go down these picks, you'll still be able to find your valuable players like your Desmond Baines, and that's all I can think of at the moment. Jalen Smith, I guess. So that's the thought process there. So they're sending this 7th pick to Boston, and Boston is going to take this 7th pick and reroute it to New Orleans and attach Carson Edwards, Enes Kanter, and Daniel Tice, and the Pacers will throw in Doug McDermott. In exchange, the Pelicans will give the Celtics Drew Holiday. Now, Drew Holiday has been linked to the Celtics for the past week or so, and Danny Ainge has been consulting with Jason Tatum on whether or not they should trade for him, and very clear they do. And in addition to that, Gordon Hayward seems not too happy in Boston at this point, based on some reports, and they decide to send him and Romeo Langford out to Indiana in exchange for Miles Turner. So, Gordon, the idea here is that, one, Pacers get something that they desperately needing is that playmaking that Gordon Hayward provides. And Romeo Langford, not a lot of people know this, but Romeo Langford grew up in Indiana. He went to school in Indiana and he went to college in Indiana, and the Pacers wanted him last year in the draft, but he just didn't follow him. So they finally get Romeo Langford, and he gets into a position of which Oladipo is gone now at this point, so he gets to step up and potentially be, that hometown hero, just like Anthony Edwards will be the hometown hero for Atlanta. So that's what the Pacers get here, and obviously the Celtics, it's very clear why they're doing this. They may be sending out a lot of draft assets and a lot of players out, but they get Drew Holiday and Miles Turner, which fits 2 great needs. Drew Holiday and Marcus Smart on the same team probably should be illegal. Miles Turner, the numbers suggest that he is good with Domantas Sabonis at times, but I feel like Domantas Sabonis is just better without Miles Turner, and Miles Turner is not really going to get better on the Pacers. And I feel like Brad Stevens in that offense could unlock Miles Turner's like potential, especially with his ability to stretch the floor. So it's very clear what Boston does it. Cleveland, like I said, they're essentially doing what they did last draft. They're rerouting this pick that they just got out to get more picks for this draft, and they get more quality players. So Cleveland is essentially setting themselves up to get as many young prospects as possible. So they're definitely win here. Boston wins here. The Pacers, when it comes to the end of this draft, they have Gordon Hayward, Romeo Langford, DeAndre Hunter, and whoever they pick with the 16th pick. So that's a pretty good return for an expiring contract and a guy who's not gonna, do that much. And of course, Doug McDermott. And they don't even have to get rid of like Jeremy Lamb. They still get to keep Jeremy Lamb, so they win there. And then the Pelicans, they get a pretty good return. They get the 7th pick, Carson Edwards, who during the last preseason seemed like a sharpshooter, Cantor's a throw-in. Doug McDermott can be pretty solid. And I know I have shit on Daniel Tice a lot, especially if you see me on Twitter, but he can be a pretty solid backup center, especially with the right situation. He just can't be playing big minutes. So all of this is dubs around. So with the 7th overall pick, the Pelicans select Kylian Haze. So the thought process behind this is that earlier in the offseason, it seemed like they were shopping Lonzo Ball. Lonzo, during the bubble, seemed pretty disinterested as to what was going on in the offense. I think they're going to move on from Lonzo Ball based on the fact that they're picking Kylian Haze here. So that's the thought process here. With the 8th pick in the 2020 NBA draft, the Knicks, I was really hoping to see, when Future Man came here and gave me the information, that I would see the Knicks do something stupid like trade away the 8th pick, RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson for like Russell Westbrook or something. But no, they decided to keep it simple and just select Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton's pretty solid. I've seen him do a lot of live streams with Dom2K, which is honestly kind of crazy when you think about it. Like, an NBA player is like pretty solid friends with like, an NBA YouTuber, which is kind of awesome when you think about it. His shot form's kind of weird to me, but it goes in, so there you go. Not to mention that Dennis Smith Jr. and Frank Ntilikina, we kind of know who they are at this point. I think Tyrese Halliburton's a very clear upgrade over those two. With the 9th pick in the 2020 NBA draft, the Washington Wizards select Isaac Okoro. So last year, was it last year? I think it was last year. Whenever they decided to trade Kelly Oubre Jr. for Trevor Ariza, that just made no sense to me. Isaac Okoro is essentially going to fill that wing position. Rui Hachimura, I really liked him last year. I understand he's not that great of a shooter, but he's pretty versatile, and he's going to develop to be pretty solid. Isaac Okoro is another young player that's going to fit alongside him pretty well. So I don't see them moving him for anyone of substance. So Isaac Okoro is a pretty solid pick here. With the 10th pick in the 2020 NBA draft, the Phoenix Suns don't trade away their picks in order to get Chris Paul. They traded away a 2022 pick with a bunch of protections on it and some other stuff to get Chris Paul. So at this point, it's pretty clear that they want to win now. Devin Booker's been talking about the past couple of years how this is the last year I'm not going to make the playoffs, and he still hasn't made the playoffs. But at this point, it seems like he's basically eschewing again in the playoffs, granted that Chris Paul doesn't get injured and he's still, Chris Paul. He's probably one of the best 15 players in the league at this point, and that'll definitely... You've seen how... I know I hate on Rubio a lot, but I recognize that Ricky Rubio being on the Suns benefited Devin Booker a lot, because Devin Booker, that took a lot of pressure off of Devin Booker since he didn't have to do all that playmaking. Now you put Chris Paul and Aaron Baines together. That just makes a lethal duo. In all seriousness, that's honestly an unironic statement too. And that also unlocks DeAndre Ayton, that whole thing. So that's my little analysis on that whole Chris Paul trade. It's definitely going to help the Suns. And here, they want to pick a win-now player. So with the 10th pick, the Suns are picking Saddiq Bey. Saddiq Bey is someone that I haven't seen people talk about a lot, but I say he's a win-now kind of prospect. He's pretty long, pretty tall. He's not necessarily an elite defender, but he can essentially use his length to bully people. He's about, I think, 6'9". He's got a pretty long wingspan. He's a pretty good shooter. So I think that fits pretty well alongside what they're going for. He's essentially a ready now player. I don't know what his ceiling is, but what I've seen is a great 3-and-D player. So I think that fits along the Suns' goal to make the playoffs now. He can contribute now. You don't have to wait like 2 or 3 years for him to, be better. So that'll be a good guy to come off the bench. With the 11th pick in the 2020 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Devin Vassell. So the idea at this point is just to select the best player available. I mean, DeMar DeRozan, they're probably going to try removing him. LaMarcus Aldridge is old at this point, so I mean, they just want to build for the future. With the 12th pick in the 2020 NBA draft, the Sacramento Kings select Aaron Nesmith. So the idea here is that Buddy Hield is probably going to get moved soon, especially since he does not want to stay in Sacramento. It's been pretty clear. They essentially pick up Nesmith, who his main utility is that he is a great 3-and-D player, or just a great shooter in general. So that's that. With the 13th pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, the New Orleans Pelicans select Tyrese Maxi. Now, Tyrese Maxi is someone that I've also seen in person play. He wasn't too memorable in the game I saw him play in. It was the UGA versus Kentucky game. He wasn't that notable, and I was also focusing on Ant majority of the time. But there's been some discussion over the past few years when it comes to Kentucky guards, whether it be Devin Booker or last year Tyler Hero. That one stings pretty badly still because of the whole coin flip thing, and also the fact that he lit us up in that series. So Tyrese Maxi, I feel like he will follow that trend of being a good Kentucky guard, and I don't think that the Pelicans are going to pass up on him. And the idea here is that earlier they've already selected Kylian Haze. So a person like Kira Lewis Jr., who is a pretty good Alabama point guard, I don't see them picking 2 point guards in the same lottery. So Tyrese Maxi is the move here. With the 14th pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers, remember, they get this pick in the whole trade that they do with the Celtics, the Pacers, and the Pelicans. They get this pick from Boston, and the Boston originally got it from Memphis when they traded Jeff Green. That's a whole other thing. So the Cleveland Cavaliers select RJ Hampton. So the idea here is, once again, they're just trying to get some good young prospects that they can hopefully get a home run on. RJ Hampton, from what I've seen him play in Australia, what's his team called again? The something Breakers or something like that? New Zealand Breakers or something like that? I don't remember his team name. But he's a pretty solid player, and he has, from what I've seen and what I've essentially read on analysis on him, has a pretty high ceiling. So that could turn into a home run for the Cavs if that does go down that route. But yeah, that is the end of the lottery. Once again, if any of these don't come into fruition, don't blame me. Blame the butterfly effect, because time travel. Yeah. Okay, that's the end of this video. So be sure to leave a like if you did enjoy. Comment down in the comment section what you think about this whole draft and all that. And then on Thursday, you will see me make the inevitable who are the winners and losers of the 2020 NBA draft, because that's a staple of every YouTuber. I might get creative with it. Because I don't want to do the whole standard thing. I already did that thing last year where I just shit on the Suns, and I think I was wrong on that, to shit on the Suns. I apologize to the Suns. I'm rambling now, so you know what? I'm just gonna see you guys later. All right, I'll try to be consistent, by the way, on uploading. All right, bye guys. And that is it. We are done. That was actually a pretty productive recording session. Like, I had a lot of fun. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah, man, for real. I could feel like the energy from here. You did a good job. I'm proud of you. Yeah, man, for real. By the way, since you're still here, do you want to get, like, something to eat? Yeah, as long as you're paying. Yeah, I mean, it's past midnight at this point, so, like, everything's closed. I know we have some stuff in the freezer if you're down for that. Future me? Hello? Oh no.